everybody, and welcome to our favorites. We are working through each of our top 10 favorite movies of all time. Previously did mine, then we did Jake's, and now we're on to Jared's 9th favorite movie of all time. And he picked out a gem, a classic.
He wants to say Gibson.
I was going to say Mel
That's
Tucker.
a different movie.
It's really right.
Oh my God, it's right
my
there.
God, it's right there.
Mel Brooks.
For audio listeners, I have some of the physical releases with me, and I have this big Laserdisc case right in front of Dickey, and that's where he just read that it's Mel Brooks.
It says Mel Brooks right there, and I couldn't remember his name. But yes, what Mel Brooks classic? Because there's so many good ones. Yeah. And I love his sense of humor. What do you got?
It is what I consider his best movie. Young Frankenstein.
I like it.
1974, the same year that Blazing Saddles came out.
Oh, I don't think they came out the same year.
Both of his biggest movies came out in the same year. I think Blazing Saddles was like spring, summer, and then this was toward the end of the year. I could have that flip. I know this came after. I couldn't remember where in the year. I could probably look that up really quick.
That's good for him. For some reason,
December 15th, which as when we're filming this is not that far away from today's date, which is 49 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yep, I believe. Yeah, the 50th anniversary is next year. So yes,
it's a good movie, and I love Mel Brooks' sense of humor. It's just I don't want to jump the gun. It's your favorite movie, but I love his sense of humor.
So this movie is a rarity for me because I rewatch it on a yearly basis. There aren't many movies to do that for. Even some Christmas movies that I try to watch every year, I don't always get to them.
Klaus.
I try. I've missed a year in there since it came out. But this is one I watch every single Halloween. I have seen this in the theater format with people. I have seen this at, I believe, in other settings. I've seen this with a bunch of people. I've seen this by myself. Most of those have been at my house. Mm-hmm. But every year, October 31st, at some point, I sit down and watch Young Frankenstein. Every year, it's just... and
this is his Rocky Horror.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He doesn't like it, so he chose this.
Rocky Horror?
Rocky
Not
Horror.
really.
No. Yeah.
That's not
nothing against... It's one of those, if you're not into it, it's whatever. Yeah. This is a movie that I first watched in high school. I remember...
That checks out!
I believe it was my junior year, we were reading the book Frankenstein. And we watched like a early 2000s featurette type thing. It's like a 30-minute like mini doc about the origins of Mary Shelley and her story and the different adaptations, and it showed a couple clips from Young Frankenstein. And I remember I'd heard of it. At this point, I believe I'd seen a couple Mel Brooks, but had not seen it. Yeah, I think it was sophomore year. We weren't reading the book yet, but we, for some reason, were talking about like, American folklore stuff, because Frankenstein is considered an American classic. Mm-hmm. So that was about 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. And I remember sometime within that month, I'd come home from school. I went over, there's a Wesco, hop, skip, and a jump away from me. And they used to have movies in there on those, like, spinny shelves.
Oh, yeah.
And right on that shelf, I knocked over this. Was this copy right here? If you're looking online, it's an old DVD copy. The special edition, which came out in, like, where is it? It says 98 for the copyright thing. So somewhere in there, I'm not seeing it. The point being, it's a special edition DVD. Probably came out sometime in the 2000s. It's sitting on a Wesco shelf. I think I can see where there, that's where the sticker was. And I was like, oh, perfect. $5? Sure. I barely have any money because I had no job. But I bought myself some Little Debbie mini chocolate donuts and Young Frankenstein.
Always a good pick.
All of his stories are accompanied by Little Debbie something.
Yeah, some kind of food.
Sorry, all of his best stories.
Yeah.
So I buy it, I bring it home, and I watched it, and I laughed decently and enjoyed it.
I like that. It's a decent...
It was like, okay, yeah. I watched it later that year with a friend. He'd come over. He wanted to watch a movie. I was like, oh, I just saw this. This is pretty fun. And he goes, okay. And we're watching. And he was amused by it and liked it. I was dying. It's one of those, for some reason, the second time is when I was laughing harder.
Because you catch more
Yeah,
of it.
it's weird with, I don't know about for you, but for me, particularly with funny movies, like particularly with comedies, I have this thing where I don't laugh a whole lot the first time I watch it, but the second time I watch it, that proves to me how much I like the movie.
If you can laugh at it more than once.
Well, no, just if I come back to it and it's still funny.
That's what I said. Yeah.
If I'm laughing, because for me, again, not to make this about me as it's your
you're
favorite
good.
movie. For me, it's like the first time I'm kind of paying attention to the story and like what's happening and like where's this gonna go. Whereas if I watch the second time, I already know it.
I respect that because I can't do that. The first time, I think this was the second or third time I've seen this. The first time, but also the second and third time, I laughed, and I definitely missed lines, and I missed parts of the movie because I was too busy laughing at a joke that happened like 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
That's just the way that I watch movies.
Which makes it rewatchable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you keep laughing at
one
the
of
same
those
part,
movies-
eventually you won't laugh as hard, and you'll catch something else and laugh at. I still catch stuff.
I mean, it helps that you only watch it like once a year.
Yeah, even then, that's more than a lot of people watch certain movies. Like, because some people, they'll watch things often, but they'll go a while without watching it and then watch it a bunch.
Yeah.
Whereas mine, it's the same day every year.
I don't know. I will admit that I have watched Across the Spider-Verse now 3 times since it's come out on physical release.
Respect.
Again, bunching it. Instead of a constant thing, it's you're watching a bunch now. There's a good chance next year or the year after, you'll not watch it. You won't think about watching it. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, wait, I love this movie. And you'll watch it a couple times in a year. Like, because you're not, like, scheduling it like I do for this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're just watching it when you feel like it.
Not too many people schedule out movie watching, Jared. That's...
I mean, Halloween is one of those days when I think a lot of people schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Christmas.
Halloween and Christmas
Yes.
are 2 of those where I would say.
Yeah, maybe more so Halloween just because, like, the actual Christmas day, you're usually more with family.
Yeah,
than
well, it's not
Halloween.
Christmas Day. It's
the
December.
Christmas season.
December,
December.
it's not like a specific day schedule. It's more of a, I have to watch my Christmas movies
Yeah.
now.
I have
And
been
you just,
itching-
when you have time, you sit down like, what one do I watch now? So it's like you've scheduled, like, these are going to happen, but not a specific day and time like I do.
It's a
But
Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is one of yours. I think you've told me your
I
family.
try to see it. My
I'm the
family
same
sometimes
way.
watch it when I'm at work.
I'm the same way. I try to watch that one every year. 'Cause
That's me and the Santa Claus.
Yep. So that's
Or
what
Home
kind of
Alone.
Home Alone is good.
so that's what kind of movie this is for me. It's every year. I laugh just as hard every year. I catch little things here and there that aren't even like life-altering changes. It's just little things that make me laugh harder.
Yeah, have
We'll
you
get
caught
to 'em.
yourself catching something that you don't remember catching the previous couple of years?
I feel like often I'll forget about it, and then while watching, it's like, oh yeah, because when you've seen it, I've seen it every year since 2011, so I've seen it like 14 years in a
Jeez,
row or
that's
whatever it is now, or 2010 or whatever I said. I think it's written down. I might even been a freshman. I'm getting everything mixed up. All I know is I was in high school. We watched something in a class. I got the movie, I brought it home, and the second watch I laughed hard, and I've watched it on Halloween since then, and it's just a riot.
Me personally, I would agree with you that this is Mel Brooks' best film.
I think my favorite's Baseballs, but I can understand.
So
Yeah, I
So
know
here-
why for you it is. We talked about that
So
one before.
here's the thing: there are so many of Mel Brooks' films that you have to watch at a specific point in your life to really attach to the humor.
I was going to bring that up when I was going to talk about. Yeah, I was going to.
And Spaceballs for me is one of those. I didn't watch it when I was whenever that age is, so I don't really attach to it. Same thing for Blazing Saddles. Like I watched that at the right time. Now, I don't think that's aged as well, but
It's
We're not the ones to
interesting.
judge parts of that.
Yeah.
yes. But I don't attach to that as well. But this was just, I didn't expect to laugh quite as hard because of previous experience with Mel Brooks films.
Was this your first viewing?
You said second. You'd seen
Yeah.
it way back.
like 15 years ago? I remembered.
So
very
around the
little of
time
it.
or right before I first watched it. But
Yeah,
I have watched it
I
every
was
year
I
since
was
then.
in it would have been more than 15 years ago because
Okay.
it would have been like freshman or sophomore year of college.
So like 2005,
Yeah.
2006.
It's about almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, shut up.
The point being, though, I've seen this. I don't really remember it. We'll give it a go. I'm not a big comedy fan, but you actually enjoyed it.
I know that Drew really loves it. And so
Drew is wonderful. Hi, Drew.
Yes. Drew is wonderful. He would have shown me this, and I probably promptly forgot it because, again, a lot of times comedies don't make the same impact on me on the first watch that they do on the second watch.
Was it also when it was dumb Jake movie watching era where you're like, this looks old, I don't like this?
No,
okay,
I don't think I would have approached it with that.
That's good
Mentality.
Because some people do. I've met people who are like,
But there's
I was like, yeah, you got a problem
That's
with
black
that?
and white. Why? Well, because it was made as an homage. But it's,
But there's no color.
What is it, like the 1970s?
Yeah. Actually, I'm
74, yep.
not to jump over you, but I'm glad you brought that up because some of this humor in this movie will make people laugh today. It's very chaotic. It's very silly, goofy. And that kind of humor is resonating with people our age now on TikTok. Like, you take out of... I've seen people post just like that, putting on a Ritz scene, and it gets millions and millions of views because it's stupid, chaotic, and funny. And that sense of humor is hitting again. So, like, if you don't want to watch this because it's black and white, just
you're a loser.
Give it a shot because it is literally today's sense of humor. Sorry, that's just what I had to say. And there are like a little bit of slower parts in between, like really smashing overhead comedy parts. But like, I still think it's.
I'll elaborate on that later.
I think that the current generation of people that are coming up and being like,
now Jake, don't forget you are 10 years older than I am. I have my finger
9.
I still have my. I'm just saying I have my finger a little more on the pulse of what the youths of today enjoy more than you.
Howdy do, fellow kids.
Mr.
Mr. Almost 30.
Sweetie, you interrupted me before you even knew what I was gonna say.
Oh, I know. I was assuming.
Back
Step
off.
that in your stupid little beanie.
I was gonna say that I think for this generation, black and white and the different types of ways that you make the medium is less of a barrier to entry than it was for like my generation.
Our generation.
I don't count his ass.
Our
That's
generation.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
I think Gen Z is probably much more apt to be open to a black and white film than someone of our generation, the Anchormans and the
That's a really good
Talladega Nights.
That's a fair point.
And the Superbads.
Oh God, I don't want to talk about that movie. I hate that movie.
It's a fun movie.
Young Frankenstein, though.
Yeah,
But Young Frankenstein is better than Superbad.
Yeah. And there are select watches not on Halloween. I remember, here's a fun story. So, right out of high school, I kind of reconnected with a friend who, we were friends when we were kids because he was across the street. He moved. I was at that house with him maybe once or twice, but just moved schools, don't ever see him. He moves back when we're in high school, and I didn't really see him, so we're aware of each other. We see each other, say hi. My senior year, he was in the marching band because he played guitar when he was a guitarist. Now I was playing bass in the pit with him, and we reconnected. So we kind of like spent that year hanging out again. It was nice to reconnect. So first semester of college, it's about September, and I knew I was going to watch it on Halloween, but at the time I didn't care if I watched it again. And what we would do was, it'd be like a Friday. Neither of us have class. He'd drive. I didn't have a car. He'd drive into town. We go to the Little Caesars. We get 2 2-liters and 2 large pepperoni pizzas. I'd bring the movies, and we go to his house. We go to his basement. We pop the movies in. We'd eat the whole pizza each and drink the whole 2-liter.
You each had a whole 2-liter
and we'd watch 2
pizza?
movies. I remember one time we watched The Producer's Remake and Memento.
What a
hard turn.
Because I told him the first one was going to fry your brain, so then I brought one that's a lot easier to digest, and he actually appreciated it. He actually appreciated it. We also watched like that Star Wars Fanboys movie, which it's bad.
I don't know if I've seen
It's not good, but I enjoy it. It's a road trip movie. They're trying to break in to watch Phantom Menace early in the 90s. It came out in like 2007.
Sounds interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's not great. There's a whole thing behind the movie about like some of this more serious stuff was cut out by the Weinsteins, who they then named Darth Weinstein. So we watched that. I did a little experiment on him. We watched that, and then we watched This Is Spinal Tap. He laughed more during Fanboys than Spinal Tap, but what movie was he talking about 2 weeks later? Spinal Tap. He didn't mention Fanboys at all.
There's way more to talk about with Spinal Tap.
And it was just funny how it's like the perfect experiment of the it wasn't current then. It was like 5-6 years old, so still modern, but not like super current comedy. Made him laugh now, but he never thought about it. And then the classic one stuck with him, and he was bringing it up later.
Same thing happened with this movie, I'm guessing.
So this one, I don't remember what we double featured with, but we put it in, and he was laughing pretty hard. And nothing else happened. We ate our pizzas. We'd sit there and chat a little bit. I went home, and that's that. A year later, it's about Halloween time, because I realized I think I had bought the Blu-ray sometime in there. I think I had bought the Blu-ray, however the timeline works, and then realized, my Blu-ray player's not working. I think only the DVD player's working. I'm going to go put the DVD in.
No.
It's not in the case.
We
left it in the player at his house that last time that I hung out with him. So I texted him. There's one big problem when I texted him about my disc. He moved. The disc is gone forever, and I have this empty case.
You brought the case here.
Yep, because I left it in his house. I can't believe I did. We were probably talking. I grabbed the case and whatever stuff I had and left it in his player. He probably took it out and set it with discs, and it got lost or something. It's probably still in that house somewhere,
it's
like
in a Goodwill bin somewhere
or something. So all I have to do is go to eBay and find like a disc only of this release to just fill it.
That's a lot of work.
It's not. I've done it before.
Have the same attachment.
No, and it is a funny story. But so this case, if you were watching online, this DVD case is empty because I left it at his house in 2013 or 13, and he moved. Like not just him, like he was living with his parents.
Oh yeah.
His parents moved. It's like he moved out and then his parents moved. So whoever had that house probably found the disc and got rid of it.
It's gone.
So that's my funny story of that. But I do have this.
DVD.
I do have this nice Blu-ray release
It worked out great.
for the opens up when they used to
I
do
didn't
fun
notice
stuff.
that.
Well, this is the thing that every year I just kind of go, this is the 40th anniversary. This came out in 2014, which I was in college. You were probably just starting college, right? You just that was your graduating year, and it's like, the 40th anniversary Blu-ray, which to me it's like, Blu-ray. Then you realize this thing is almost 10 years old.
Yeah.
Also, you put it in upside down.
Oh, did I really?
Who's?
That's funny.
So let me fix it real quick.
Let me look at this. Hold up. Stop moving the sleeve.
What?
Tune in to see this wonderful me holding up a case.
I looked at that out of the corner of my eye, and I did not see Gene Wilder. I saw the female assistant.
Inga.
Oh,
Inga.
She was funny.
And I wondered why they would choose her for the cover and to be the only person on the cover.
That's a strange choice.
I love the story of she didn't have the role yet, and I think she auditioned and said, or she's going to audition, and Mel Brooks was on the phone with her and said come in tomorrow and try to have a German accent, and she responded in a German accent I can't do it, but right on the spot did it, and that's when I knew perfect.
That's amazing.
Terry Garr is her name.
I love that they turned the original fiance into the bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, that was such a.
That's the hair.
That was something that I had completely forgotten about, and I just totally wasn't expecting it.
The running gag of they sing during sex is really funny. I don't know why it's so funny.
Did you say the
oh, sweet mystery of life!
Because
it's I found you.
Because it's what's implied, not what's shown.
I know. Well,
it's always can either of you explain to me? You've watched more old movies than I have. Why smoking after sex is...
That is an old trope
Where
in
did it come
movies,
from?
but it's also a thing in real life back in the day.
it
Like,
really?
for some reason,
really?
I don't remember where I heard this film class or someone. For some reason, there's something about post-coitus. Ow. I hit something for you audio listeners. Post-coitus, for some reason, people would smoke.
Really?
I don't know the science. I don't know why. That was just a thing. And then when you watch old movies, it's in a lot of noir movies,
so
too.
You get a high...
always an old...
You get a slight high off of cigarettes. I wonder if that has something to do with it.
I mean, your brain is after... It's all like, wee!
Yeah, I wonder if that high calms it down.
Just,
You mean because you put out, you have to put back in?
but
Wow. Well,
Just saying.
yeah.
Well played.
I'm just saying.
Well played, sir. Well played.
But yeah, that is an old trope.
Yeah.
And that
'Cause
I
that
think,
makes
and
me
they are
laugh.
playing on it, like how, of course, they're smoking right afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
What did she say? 7 times is my lucky. And I was like, and every year I go, oh my gosh,
It's
you better keep your mouth shut. Oh, I love him. Every year gets me.
so ridiculous.
Madeline Kahn is wonderful in this as Elizabeth, his fiance, financier, as he says accidentally.
Who is in it maybe 20 minutes?
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of screen time, but man, she makes the most of every second.
When they were saying goodbye before the train left, and he kept getting like
It's
her
like the
was getting in the way.
it was like, and then it's like the taffeta darling, taffeta dear. No, the dress, it's taffeta, it wrinkles easily. And then like, the nails, the hair, watch the hair, and like he even throws her a kiss, and she. It's so dumb.
Like that's okay. Really quick, I have to get into this because first off, this is it. I think watching this with Sam made me realize what Mel Brooks humor is. It's middle school boy humor for movie nerds.
Yeah.
Because like I'm watching
Fair.
this and I'm giggling, I'm laughing, and she's rolling her eyes. I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
That's
okay.
exactly.
I was about to say, if she just kind of going.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm like, yep, that is Mel Brooks humor to a T, and I'm here for it. It makes me laugh. When they kept saying, what's her name?
Frau Blucher.
Like, that's such a stupid joke. But I laugh every time.
And the way they set it up, like, they have it a couple times in that scene. It happens when he's going to bed, like, a couple minutes later, like, good night, Frau Blucher. And you hear him outside, and then it happens, I think, one more time at the end when they come in, when she's about to, or not the end, sorry, the middle, where she's freeing him, and just... Yeah. Frau Blucher in the background. It's like, it's a perfectly set up gag. It's easy, it's simple, it's stupid. I love it.
It itches that sense of humor that's been in me since I've been 13
It's the anticipation.
years old.
You know it's coming. When they say the name, it's like you have a split second of, and then you hear it, and it's satisfying. Oh, man.
And also, I mentioned it a little bit earlier before, but I mean, I don't think any of us will ever be able to listen to Puttin' on the Ritz the same way after this movie.
No, I heard it I was watching, there's a documentary trilogy of movies called That's Entertainment, where it's basically looking through classic musicals. And I can't remember what movie, but it's Clark Gable performing Puttin' on the Ritz from a movie, and it doesn't sound right because I'm used to right. So, and he's singing it. He's not singing it in this arrangement that Gene Wilder sings it. It's like really fast. If you're blue and you don't know where to go, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz. Like, he's really fast, and he's doing like a tap dance with the cane and the hat, like they are. And it's like, this is weird. I'm just used to the
that's Gene Wilder actually singing.
Well, yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, 3 years before this was Willy Wonka.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, because he has a decent voice in Willy Wonka. So yeah, he's like
one of my friends, because we would watch this the first couple of Halloweens. We watched this as a friend group, and one day he just said, "Do you ever think on the set of Young Frankenstein they would call Gene Wilder Willie?" And I looked at him and go, "No, they probably called him Gene because that's his name." Like, one, it wasn't a very nice answer to him, but it's also like, what kind of like 10-year-old thought process is this in the moment of like, why would they do that?
I mean,
Of course, they probably someone somewhere on set thought of that, but like no one's gonna call him Willie.
I don't know if at that point it was like the classic that it is today.
Well, it wouldn't be the classic. It was fairly popular.
Yeah, I don't.
But it's like
know.
no one's gonna call you by your movie name. It was just a funny thing of like, no, dude, that's not. No, people use their first names usually.
This just makes. I love
That's
Gene
like
Wilder.
That's like when you go salmon fishing and someone asks you how deep you're gonna fish. You say 200 feet, and the person asks, "What are the fish doing out there?"
That's pretty good. I've never heard that before. So something I notice every year is like little things in the performances, like the line deliveries and the certain timings of things. And like one of them this year that I particularly laughed at, it's right after they have to sedate the creature because he goes berserk. Because one thing I noticed a couple years ago is, because I was wondering, yeah, he goes crazy and he just starts choking him and they do the charades thing.
That's
3
such
words,
a good bit.
3 syllables, first syllable. What I realized is he gets up and he's starting to walk, and then Igor lights a match for a cigarette, and he sees that it's in the left third.
Okay. Yeah. I remember.
Yep. It's like I never caught it until a couple years ago. I was like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Why am I blanking on? They were one syllable off. It wasn't. It was like for Jade him.
It was.
Sir,
So it's first word. Sounds like head. Bad. Sad. Small word. Said. A dirty word. He said a dirty word. And I love it sounds like give. Said give. Give him a said give. And he looks up at the creature like.
That's what I'm trying to remember.
So they get him, and I always laugh at the part of he like wrestles him onto the table. Mm-hmm. He's knocked out, and they just said a give. Inga, will you excuse us real quick? And then I did this for you earlier. Igor, take a seat. Oh, thank you. Oh no, up here. Oh no, up here. Just like, and it's coming. It's that ticking time bomb of he's going to explode on him. And Gene Wilder's the master of timing and yelling. And there's a lot of yelling in this from him, but it's not Bill Murray Scrooge yelling where it's every line. It's carefully selected parts.
Do you think? You said it's Gene. Do you think? I think it's the mixture of Gene Wilder and Mel. I was going to say Mel Tucker's again. Oh my God.
Mel Brooks. Well, Gene Wilder co-wrote the screenplay with him. It was his idea.
I didn't know
The movie was his idea.
Interesting.
He's coming up with it while they were making Blazing Saddles, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And he invited Mel Brooks he wanted him to direct it, and they wrote it together.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
So I mean, because like literally that, like the Abby.
Okay. So it's oh no, up here, and he's like, oh thank you. He sits up. So Igor, that brain you gave me.
That's not.
Was that Hans Delbruck? No. I see. It's that quick. There's no gap. It's no. I see. Then whose brain was it? And he turns and Abby someone. Yes, Abby normal. Abby normal. So he stands up and walks over. See, you're telling me I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5 foot long, 54-inch wide gorilla? Is that what you're telling me? Yes. Quick, give him the 3 syllables. And that's when the knock at the door cuts him up. Like, just that whole building to it. And I love, again, the no. I see.
It's like he is such a. It is also shines a lot in Willy Wonka. He can go from like normal to completely unhinged on a dime.
0 to 100.
And I just love that about Gene Wilder. Not the only other person that I can think acts that way and does it well. Glenn Howerton and Always Sunny. Just saying. That 0 to 100 level of energy.
Newsflash!
I've been hearing it the entire time.
Then why did you say, because I hate you?
You see, it's like, that, like, just 0 to 100, that always makes me laugh. That's such an easy thing for me, and I love it so much. God.
Oh, just makes me miss him more and more every year when I watch it, because when did he die? I could look that up.
Gene Wilder.
2016?
Yeah, 2016.
Was that? I thought. Wow, I didn't realize it was. I mean, I guess that's not that close.
August 29th, 2016. I was just thinking that. Actually, I was thinking, I don't know if he's still alive still. I wonder if he is alive, if they're going to like have him do a cameo in the new Willy Wonka movie.
Trying to think of, looking at the main cast,
He'd be...
Terry Garr might be the only living main cast member from this movie.
Still alive, isn't he?
No, he died in 2006. Or 7. He died not long after Raymond and Peter Boyle. Yeah, he's been gone a long time.
Why did I not realize that?
Because you were like 10 at the time. Yeah, no. 2006, December 12th, 2006.
I wasn't 10. I was 20.
You can when you watch the last season of Raymond, you can tell he's struggling a little bit. It's like, his health is deteriorating. It's a little sad to see.
Frank?
Yeah. You can tell that last season he's not himself fully. He's still great on the show. Like
yeah, and all of his movie roles too. Like he always, like whenever he pops up in anything, I'm always he always.
Yeah, and he's great in this. They make him look huge. I think he's like my height, so he's not like towering. Just everyone else is not very big.
Yeah, and I'm sure they did a little.
Well, and he probably has the boots. The boots are big.
Yeah.
But man, great cast like Marty Feldman.
Oh my God!
It's so funny. I think I mentioned this because we discussed this movie before, I believe, for favorite horror. Way back. I can scroll to it real quick. Where are you, horror? We discussed this in August of 2022.
Okay.
But that's when we were doing 3 movies in an episode, so we only had like 20, 30 minutes tops on it. And I brought up the story of Aerosmith in the studio. Yeah, writer's block. They went to the movies late at night and watched this, and they heard the line "Walk This Way," and wrote the song.
I forgot about that.
Yep, it's like, oh, that's right, and I love that moment because, it's right after the "What Hump" line, which also has another funny. It's like because he taps the hump and he's like, oh, I don't want to embarrass him. I'm a rather brilliant surgeon. Perhaps I could help you with that hump. What hump? And that's one of the big lines, and people do quote it. But what kills me is there's a split second of awkward pause. Frederick is kind of looking around, and he goes, "Let's go!" And then allow me. Oh, thank you. He tries to lift the big bag, goes to the little bag. They get to the steps. He has his little, like mini cage, and he walk this way, and he, goes down like that, like crab style. And he hands him a cane so that Frederick goes halfway down just like that, stops, and you can see without any words, he's kind of like, what am I doing? Kills me every time.
It's so... And I'm trying to, are there fourth wall breaks in this?
Yes, I feel like there would be.
Because, I remember...
Oh, yeah, when Igor goes to get the brain...
Yeah.
It says H. Delbrook on his hand. He points, and he looks right at the camera and goes...
I was trying to remember because I'm like I can't remember if he's looking at the camera or if he's just kind of looking in that direction.
He looks right at us and shakes his head. It's kind of like the Jack Nicholson Departed meme.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, it really is.
But it's more. I do love they when they first get to the laboratory and they hit the switch. He's like, rather nasty looking switch over there. Turns it's just shooting sparks. Damn your eyes! Zooms in. Too late.
I know.
Yeah. Another part that gets me here, we're just going to keep quoting it because it's one of those movies that's just highly quotable.
His movies are just
when they're first going to the castle and you hear the howling, which is one of Mel Brooks' only vocal. You only hear him. He's making the howling noise. He makes the cat noise at the dart scene, but he's not in it because Gene Wilder said you being in it would break the illusion. So he goes, werewolf, there, castle. Why are you talking that way? I thought you wanted to. No, I don't want to. Suit yourself, I'm easy.
Again,
it's just so stupid.
That part, I was laughing, and Sam's doing, oh my God.
Did she seriously laugh at any of it?
She laughed. She told me, she was like, well, that was a funny movie. It's stupid, but it was funny.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things you brought up, like how well, it's like it gets chaotic and zany, but then there's like lulls or something.
Yeah.
Well, it's not as much as lulls. I think it's much more restrained and subtle than a lot of movies would be, and it builds up to those.
Many of Mel Brooks' other films that I've seen.
A lot of the joke is them paying homage to those 30s horror movies, in how it's made and shot and edited, and the sound and the music, it's really well put together.
It is.
It feels like one of those classic Universal monster movies because it straight up is Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. And I can't remember what the other ones. I thought they worked in a little bit of Wolfman in there or something, but it's basically paying homage to that, and it's a very deliberate pace. It's not very long, but it feels like a lot happens.
It does feel like... Well, like that's where I was going to say, like, I feel like around the middle to 2/3 of the movie, there's, like, about, like, a 15-minute maybe pause, at least for when I was watching it this most recent time.
Are you talking about after he gets out?
Yeah.
And it's like the little scenes of what he's, which like the little girl is straight up from the first Frankenstein, a scene that they cut. So in the first Frankenstein movie from 1931, there's a scene cut from I don't know if it was everywhere or just the U.S. where he's with that little girl and they're throwing like petals into the water.
Yeah.
So him being not intelligent throws her in to see if she'll float and she drowns. It's an accident, but because of his controversial scene, they cut it out. It still exists. You can see. I think it's been put back into the movie.
Because that's what they were like building up to. But then she.
Yeah. Oh dear, nothing left. What shall we thrown out? And he does look at us for a second, and looks away.
That was a fourth wall break too.
Little one,
just a tiny little.
And then also the Gene Hackman scene is one of the best scenes.
Well, really quick before the Gene Hackman scene, for me, the thing that also set me off the little girl scene was the sound effect of her flying into her bed. It was just a... It's like there's nothing because... I don't know why. It's so... Again, it's stupid, but it's funny as hell. I cracked up. It got me. That part got me.
I can't believe it. Did you check upstairs? I thought you checked upstairs. And they just run up there and she's already in bed. Like this has like nothing to do with anything. I love it.
Yeah, I'm laughing at it, but I'm like, okay, can the plot move along a little bit? I'm still laughing, but I'm like,
it's not even that long. That's like it's like a minute or two. And then the Gene Hackman scene is right after, which every time that establishing shot of his cabin, which is straight out of Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay, I never actually seen
that's it because like it's the blind guy who can't because he can't see him, isn't scared by him.
Yeah,
that's like at the end of that movie, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And just I was talking to Jake earlier, like a visitor's all I ask, and then just thank you, Lord. Me a blind man and you a mute, very big mute. He must have been the tallest in your class.
And then he kept going to pour everything and just.
I always laugh at that. And then he, like a toast, and then of course lights his finger on fire, and at first. Wait, where are you going? I was going to make espresso. I do always like going. He goes, cigars. Apparently he was playing tennis with Mel Brooks one day and like wanted to be in the movie, or Mel asked. One of the other mentioned him being in the movie uncredited, or at least not in the opening, something like that.
Cool. Literally, Jared, until you said his name, I did not know that was Gene Hackman. I did not.
You would tell it to him.
I just didn't realize it was
famous
him.
From the Replacements.
Yeah.
And welcome to Mooseport.
I forgot about that.
I think that's his last movie. We probably said that last time.
Is that the one with Raven?
Yep. That's where he's the ex-president, and Raymond runs against him for mayor because the president is sweet on his like ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or something.
That sounds chaotic.
Oh man, movies are so absurd.
Yeah.
This is a gem. You're right. I could just go down quoting this and remembering it, like, and it's too much fun.
Yeah, putting on the Ritz scene we already mentioned. Inspector Kemp kills me because it's the wooden arm, and it's just like he's so good at the starting and stopping, and no one can understand him. His own countrymen can't understand. Like, next time, it's not following in his grandfather's footsteps. What? Footsteps. Oh, footsteps. Then later, A riot is an ugly thing, and it's about time we had one. Like, he kills me, and
the
then
darts. Like,
the darts
between
where
him and Jim and the darts.
Boonk. Nice grouping. Thank you. And then, of course, because you are a Frankenstein. Then he gets the cat, and he throws one behind him. Well, this was fun. Then he goes outside. His driver has one. The helmet, the tires are all out. And the funny thing is, like, he only threw 2 outside, unless he threw more outside earlier, like, because there were like 7 or 8 darts stuck on that car.
Oh, I missed the darts on top of the car. I didn't even notice that.
His helmet, and then they're in like the tires,
Yes.
and then there's like 1 tire on the side, like the spare that has one too. But there's like 3 in each tire. It's like, how long did they play?
So funny.
I also love right before that, the reputation. Oh, doctor, you mustn't discourage why you haven't even touched your food. There. Now I touched it. You happy? That always gets me. And then they're sitting there eating, and oh, you like it? I'm not partial to desserts myself, but this is excellent. Who are you talking to? To you. You made a yummy sound. I didn't make a yummy sound. That's right. There's 2 table scenes, because the first one is where I learned a new word in high school because we were watching, and it's like, he's like, of course, because they're talking about enlarging the body, and it's like, of course, that would simplify everything. So that means his hands, his feet, his organs would all be bigger. Exactly. He'd have an enormous Schwanstucker.
Yeah, what do they call
Pauses, and then Schwanstucker. And he's chewing, he stops, and goes, that goes without saying. Oof. He's going to be very popular.
Yeah. And he sure was with the bride.
Oh, my gosh. And don't forget Igor's little thing around the table of like, oh, that's the second scene. Was like, oh, when these things would happen to me, my dad, the things he'd say. What did he say? What the hell are you doing in the bathroom day and night? Why don't you get out and give someone else a chance? And it cuts back to Frederick, and he kind of goes like, he looks, thinks, oh, it's hopeless or something like that. Like, he just like jumps back. There is a moment also that he breaks character that is in the movie. Oh. Frederick or Gene Wilder. Yeah. And I caught it either last year or the year before when Elizabeth shows up, and it's like she gets all hot and bothered by just, well, let's turn in. Mm-hmm. And after that, he's introducing them, and he goes, Igor, will you help me with the bags? Certainly, you take the blonde, I'll take the one at the time. And he like bites the animal, whatever that is, around her neck. And so during filming, every time he'd bite it, he'd get pieces of like the fake fur or whatever stuck in his mouth. He'd be spitting them out. And if you watch the outtakes, they're all laughing because I keep ruining the take because he's just going. So in the movie, the take is like, and she hits him. He goes, and then for one little bit, you can hear Jim go, "Stop that!" Like his voice cracks real quick.
Oh, that's funny.
We didn't even mention the what knockers line either.
Dad.
What knockers? Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Again. It goes back to this is middle school boy humor. Yep. It's fantastic.
Yeah, this year I watched it with my friend who had never seen it because I'm like, hey, I'm doing nothing on Halloween. Do you want to come over and watch a movie? Because I'm like, I watch this movie every year. He's like, yeah, sure. Have you ever seen Young Frankenstein? He goes, no. I'm like, oh boy. And we're watching. He was laughing, and he did like it. Yeah. I think I was laughing a lot harder than him, and I may have been mouthing most of the lines to myself. I hope it didn't bug him. But it was like doing that to the movie. It's like getting every single little timing thing down, because when you watch it every year for over a decade, that's what happens. Yeah. And
I mean, like I said, even on the second and third time, like I know that the Abby Normal,
Abby Normal. Yes, quite sure that's what it was.
It's such a good delivery.
Yeah, and that the reveal at the end, I think, is what, like, that first viewing, I said I laughed here and there. I died that first time. And then when I showed my friend that second time, he died laughing. It was the one point of the movie where he wasn't just chuckling, he was actually like laughing, because it's you gave that one a part of your wonderful brain, but what did he give you? And it's just that looking. Oh, I don't believe it. Sweet mystery. Because when that started, I'm like waiting for it, and I'm. My friend's like, what? And he got it quick. He's like, what did he give you? And my friend instantly's like, oh, and I just start laughing. I go, that little.
There's something about you can always make jokes about dicks.
Yeah.
And they're always
funny. Yeah, there's a. I used it to pick on a friend of mine from college because he was going on a date with this girl named Destiny. And so when we got to the part, I just go, it's when he's having a nightmare. And what is his nightmare? Someone's trying to make him say his name right. It's like, don't give me that. I don't believe in fate. Okay, Ewan, I'll say it. Destiny, no escaping that for me. And he keeps doing it. And my friend's like, oh no.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a little bit of a very, very easy way to just, okay, we're gonna make him be Frankenstein now. Like.
He wasn't yet though, because the actual part, the first step is him finding the secret library and reading it. It could work. Where he's convinced. Oh, there's something to this. But the actual change is after he goes into, what is the word I'm looking for? When he goes in there to make the creature like him. Appeal to him. And that's the whole, Dr. Frankenstein, are you all right? My name is Frankenstein. Which, the beginning of that scene where he's telling him, like, no matter how loud I scream, no matter how I yell, or how much I beg, do not open this door, or you have undone everything I've worked towards. The second he gets in there, he, like, bumps the table.
I was kidding.
He's like, get me out of here. Get me the hell out of here. God, don't you know people know that's a joke? Ha, ha, ha. Open this door, I'll kick your rotten heads in. Mommy! And there is one moment where, if you turn on the subtitles, I think he does drop the F-bomb.
Oh, really?
He, like, turns back because, he breaks the chains off.
Yeah.
And he turns and goes, hello, handsome. Like, I think he says WTF in that moment. But, like, really, like, mumbles. I can't remember if it is in the subtitles, but I was like...
PG?
Probably PG.
PG?
No, should we say something? Yeah, well, it's pre-PG-13 for sure.
That's true. This would have been in the 70s, so it wouldn't have
But
even
again, he
mattered.
mumbles, so I don't think he did. But also, like, if the subtitles say it, someone somewhere while putting that together decided, he did say it. It's funny.
It's well-deserved. You got to earn your F-bombs. That would have been a great one.
Hello, handsome. That old scene is great. See, all we're doing is quoting it. But when it's a comedy that's full of quotes, it's all about the characters and their interactions. Like, we didn't even mention him at the beginning, stabbing himself with a scalpel. Or kicking that guy in the balls.
When he's talking in front of the students, like all of those like lecture bits.
I was holding back laughter so hard because it's like it's the first real scene if you don't count the opening shots. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't want to be annoying right away. I want him to like actually get used to the movie first before I start just dying. But just you son of a bitch bastard. That poor guy because he's blocking the outer nerve or whatever. And he's and then just give him an extra $1. Nobody
else could have made this movie other than Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks.
It's
such a like you can see their influences, and it's just it's sad that we're not going to get any more of them working together because they had so
Mel
much
Brooks
good.
still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Who's still? Yeah, Mel Brooks is still.
Yeah, I'm
How old is he?
He's in his 90s.
I just looked up when we watched it. He's 97.
97. Still kicking.
Oh,
good for him.
Good for him.
Because you the other day when I gave you the Blu-ray to borrow, like, wait, he's still alive? I go, yeah, he just did that Hulu show, History of the World Part 2, which I hear it's not great, but Mel Brooks made something new.
I know. I still,
Mel Brooks made something new.
Eventually.
Who cares?
Yeah, it kind of negates the
who cares
the joke. The joke of the movie History of the World Part 1 is funny because there is no Part 2, but now there is. Yeah. Whatever. But yeah, after this, Gene Wilder went off and, he's in all the Richard Pryor movies he's with, which I've only seen Silver Streak, and Richard Pryor's only in like half of it.
I actually have.
But
I
those
know they
two
have one,
together, from the clips I've seen, also are hilarious.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of it, but I know.
And Gene went on to direct his own movies that he was into. So he had a career after this that was successful. It's just he never worked with Mel Brooks again, which is a shame. But then Young Frankenstein was adapted into a Broadway musical in the 2000s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, 2007. And it was because the producers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Before it in 2000. So then, because that was a big success. Turned Young Frankenstein didn't do as well. I'm trying to see if it says how many performances. It doesn't tell me. It ran for about a year and a half. So not a great run, but it wasn't like a super short run, but not super long. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I've heard it's not as good. I've never watched or listened to much of it, but some people say it actually is pretty decent. It just wasn't popular when it came out.
I would be so curious to watch it. I don't know how they would. I mean, I can see how parts of this would be adapted, but that's such an interesting take. I'd be so curious to know how that actually plays.
Yeah. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention its Oscar recognition. It was nominated for adapted screenplay for Mel and Gene, and then for best sound.
Which checks out.
Which, when you listen, it's there's a lot of stuff in the editing and the sound too that is really good, and the feel of it. And you brought up how
I was about to say Thunder.
And you were going to say about the equipment from the original Frankenstein, which they got there. They were able to borrow.
Oh, that's cool. They were able to use that.
It's from the original movies.
Movie. That's awesome.
So that's
amazing,
always fun.
Because when was the original movie made?
Frankenstein?
Yeah.
31.
So
it had been 40 years.
40-some years later.
And it was still sitting around.
And to be just in someone's basement somewhere.
Yeah, and the cobwebs actually add to it.
Especially in the 30s when they just pumped out movies.
Yep.
And just did whatever with whatever they made them with.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anything else?
Yeah, I was going to say this is so funny. I understand, depending on what age you are and where you are when you watch this, might not be for you.
Well, again, with the black and white thing, there are people. I know Jake said there are people in the younger generations that may be more willing. I have run into people. At this point,
it's less of a barrier because I think film is more important to the new generation because it became more important to our generation versus our parents' generation. The movies just aren't that important to my parents, but they're very important to me. So
absolutely same. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like I've run across people I don't know, it's black and white. It's like, is that a problem? It's like, well, I don't want to watch black and white. It's like, Okay, and in my head I'm like, what a loser.
Yeah, but
it's okay to not like it, but it's another thing to just not even try because to just completely not have anything to do with it because it's black and white. That's such a shallow, narrow-minded approach to media.
If you like Chris Lord and Phil Miller, I think their names are right.
Chris Miller and Phil Lord.
I was wrong. Anyway, if you like the 21 Jump Street movies, if you like that kind of humor, I think this will also land for you. I do.
Except I like this. I don't like 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, I think there's a difference. I think that this is more clever than...
Yeah, the others is more just excessive.
But it's still...
He picks up with his mouth off the ground at the end of the movie.
But it's still the high... Yes, I know that. It's very... But I still think it's the high-paced, frantic humor at parts.
I do believe that this fed into what made that.
Yeah.
But I do not believe that they are the same.
I'm not saying they're the same. I'm just saying if you like that, you will probably like this.
It is slower paced than it, and it also actually has
a plot,
a fun word.
There's not that much of a plot to this. Just saying, there is a little bit, but it's
how to put this. There's an actual screenplay, and not just Ice Cube dropping the F-bomb every other word.
To be fair, that's absolutely hysterical.
Not after the second F-bomb.
It still makes me laugh.
I sit there
it's the second F-bomb. That's 30 seconds into the movie.
Yeah. I remember the scene starting. I go, oh, it's funny. Oh, he's still going. How long is this going to be? Are we going to actually make jokes or be clever, or are we just going to swear the whole time? That's part of the reasons why.
Ice Cube, though.
I know.
That's kind of how I feel about Superbad.
Point, though. Yeah. It's Ice Cube. That's why it's funny. And again, This is for me. This is not for you two. I know you have a very different taste in movies, but I'm just saying.
We like good movies.
Okay, call it what you want, whatever. If you like those, like I think you do.
Two of us here have watched 80 for Brady, and one of us has not.
Yeah, that's why. Those are my ending thoughts.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something funny.
Something about the Mario movie?
Yeah, here we go again. Nah.
It's
the excessive language was the reason Gene Wilder retired in like the 80s or 90s. Whenever he retired because it was like comedy was increasingly becoming like way raunchier than what we were doing, and it was mostly. I think there's an interview when he's in like his 70s or 80s. He's like, yeah, it was just all curse words, and I was just like, I don't really.
As early as in the 80s.
I can't remember when his career when he.
It could have easily been.
It was. I think he got into the early 90s and retired.
But like, it got so much worse. Like if you look.
Yes, it did.
You look at an 80s movie compared to like American Pie type movie. Shit.
I mean, there's similarities there though. Like depending on what you look at.
I mean, obviously.
So his film career, he was a narrator of a documentary in 2005, but before that, there was a movie in 90 and 91. He was in television stuff throughout the 90s and 2000s, but I think his film career he had stopped because, as he said, that's just kind of what it all became.
Well, it's like we just said, it's funny, but it's not clever.
Yeah, and that comedy movies in general have been like this weird thing of like it's kind of a dying breed because there are other mediums that attract people more. TV stuff, we have social media and TikTok that it's much shorter form and just tailored different, and that's why it's like what is a comedy movie, because comedy is put into every genre now.
Do you know
it's so hard to make just a comedy movie?
Do you know what's interesting about that?
What?
Because of the community guidelines of like TikTok and YouTube and the shortening of comedy, people are starting to do it more without swearing now.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
It's interesting how it's starting to lean back,
which is good because remember what we said about the implied. It's often a lot funnier.
TikTok does a lot of that.
Yeah, that's why I really hate when people crap on like. I don't want to get on my pedestal again, but I am going to for a little bit. When people crap on YouTube, when people crap on TikTok, oh, it's just something the kids do. It's not that. There's a lot of smart creators.
No, there's a legitimate medium to those.
There absolutely is. There's a lot of creativity gets put into that. If you watch something, you will find something that you like.
The problem is, and this is not to get
I know we're getting
into a breadth of this, but it's not a sustainable form of entertainment because it's going to go the way of X and of Facebook. It's all going to get phased out and replaced
that's just how
by the new thing. Like it's
internet works.
Yeah, well, it's just how it operates. But when you make your primary income or your main job that.
The thing is, though, video content, I don't think at this point will ever end. I think the platform that it's on will continue to change. Because we moved from Vine, obviously. Vine was phenomenal. Facebook and Instagram Reels are now a thing. So no matter what, you're making video online content.
How many people do you know that have been really successful on YouTube but haven't been able to cut it on TikTok because they couldn't adapt to it?
The big thing about that, though, TikTok does not pay nearly as much as YouTube does.
That's true.
So if you are legitimately, and we're getting such a sidetrack, but if you are legitimately looking to make money based off of online content like that, YouTube is the primary still way to go.
Which is funny because all the YouTubers complain about it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's gotten to the point where it's gonna. I bet you it's gonna get to the point where YouTube doesn't pay them anymore, and they're just all expected to. Yeah, they're just all expected to have sponsor deals.
Yeah. Anyway, that was such a side tangent.
Yeah.
Young Frankenstein. Is there anything else you guys want to mention about?
I think we probably covered it in the last one, and I think I've said everything. We'll just keep quoting it.
Yeah. All right.
I'll watch it again next year. We'll see who I'm with. I probably just be alone. That's usually what I expect every year, and it's fine. Sitting in my basement, just laughing nonstop and quoting a whole 100-minute movie is the way to go.
If you guys like watching us sitting in a basement quoting things and talking about random things, and you want to watch next week's Jared's favorite episode or anything else we got coming out after that, Jared, where can they find us on social media?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X.
Oh, that's right. I call it Twitter. It's X.
Yep. And then you can listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell, and make sure you rate us on all those apps.
Absolutely.
Apps. Oh, yeah, we made that joke before. Yeah. Check out our Groovy website if I didn't say that.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Shut up. Yeah. Anyway, yes, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you want to watch next week's episode, or watch the movie for next week's episode before we talk about it, Jared, what is your next favorite movie of all time?
My 8th favorite movie of all time is Paris, Texas, 1984, Wim Wenders movie. And watch it and let us know what you think next week after you hear our thoughts on it.
Absolutely, yes, I'm very excited. So yes, make sure to tune in next week. Thank you for watching today. We will see you guys later.
Another hit.